Wanderers Show.
Welcome along to Season 2, Episode 3 of the Wycombe Wanderers Show, with myself, Colin, and Bob, who's made it back from Wigan.
He does that every week, and he'll carry on doing it, even if we're still here in 50 years' time.
Can you imagine? Welcome to Season 50.
Well, you never know, I suppose. Yeah. We could be.
That'd be good, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be fantastic. No, look forward to doing it when I'm 97. Yes, I'm back from Wigan. It was a bit chilly and cold. It's grim up north, as they say. And it was a bit of a grim performance as well, I'm afraid. Not like the win against Cheltenham on Saturday, which was truly marvellous.
We'll reflect on both of those games this evening. We'll talk to you a bit about Ollie Pendlebury, who's become a bit of another find. We get these finds, don't we?
We do, yes.
Like archaeologists.
Ollie, we are indeed.
Anis.
And Anis as well. We will also be chatting to Neil Peters from the club, whose title I believe now is Head of Stadium Operations, but he will be able to tell us more about that, and also about all of the exciting things that have happened and are still happening at the stadium, and some of the new things that you can look forward to at the home game against Lincoln on Saturday, because yes, there's even more new stuff. I know there's been lots of new stuff at the game against Accrington and Leicester, but there's even more new stuff coming.
It's strange to think this will be only the second home game of the season, because we had 3 away, haven't we, including a cup game?
Yes, we have, yes. So we've had the Cheltenham, we've had the Exeter game, and then the Wigan game. So yes, only the second game of the season at home.
Very exciting, looking forward to that. Of course, a record-equalling start to League One.
Indeed.
It's not bad at all, is it?
Not bad.
Unbeaten.
Yeah, absolutely.
7 points from 9.
7 points and 7 points. It's not, that's you'd much rather be us.
Absolutely. Also come up this evening, by the way, we'll be hearing from a winger from the 60s, Merrick, who, due to his running style, was known as the Stag.
Good name.
When I initially heard that, I thought it was because he went to the pub of the same name quite a bit. But no, it's a good name.
He liked organising stag do's or something.
Yeah, maybe.
You'd rather be us than Shrewsbury Town.
Yes.
I know that I left the you'd rather be us ...
Very good. Yes.
Just in case you were wondering who you'd rather be us than, definitely Shrewsbury at the minute.
Yes.
And probably our dear friends Peterborough, although they're not doing quite as bad as they were last week, and we forgot to mention that.
Yes. Poor Peterborough.
No longer stinking at the bottom of the championship or whatever they said about us.
Yes. But that bit was a bit surreal. If someone had just tuned in then...
That's what we like.
Yes, just running down the... So back to Saturday and Cheltenham. Fantastic result and a fantastic afternoon for Ollie Pendlebury.
Absolutely. Never scored a senior goal before. And suddenly... a bit like buses, 2 come along in 5 minutes. And fantastic as well that Sam Vokes scored, first of all, because I was slightly concerned when he then missed that penalty in the penalty shootout against Exeter. And you slightly thought, oh no, is it going to be one of those things where we've signed somebody who's meant to score lots of goals and basically, and then not going to be able to? And, and because as he came up to take the penalty against Exeter, you were thinking, oh great, he's going to find the back of the net. Oh no, he's missed. I think it was saved. I can't remember now. It was a while ago. But yes, I was slightly worried that it was going to be one of those things that actually, we were possibly still going to be sitting here at Christmas saying, well, I wonder when Sam Vokes is going to score a goal. But luckily, we didn't have to wait much longer after the Exeter game, because yes, he did score against Cheltenham. Cheltenham then, of course, equalised just before half-time. But yes, Ollie Pendlebury to the rescue with 2 decent shots from well outside the area as well to send the light and dark blue faithful wild. And certainly there were a lot of celebrations as Wycombe maintained their great start at the top of League One.
And the manager, Gareth Ainsworth, spoke to Matt after the game.
Can't ask for much more from the boys. They may have made it hard for themselves at times today, but the results are important.
Yeah, do you know, the pleasing thing is probably we weren't on all cylinders like we were against Accrington. I thought we were fantastic, but the fixture build-up and the fixture chaos and the trip away to Exeter in midweek, all factors contributing to that. But I thought we were solid. We didn't look like conceding really at all. And once they penetrate the midfield line, they've still got that back line, and David Stockdale to get through I thought was immense today, as he has been since he took the jersey back last year. But it was good to see a team who weren't actually firing as well as we know we can, but still winning a game and seeing it out comfortably. Really pleased for them. You know, some real standout performances. Ollie's going to get the headlines, of course, you know, and deservedly so. 2 fantastic strikes, but some real grafting performances today from the rest of them.
At the start, and Sam Vokes, it's been a while that he's had to wait for a goal. Obviously, he had the penalty saved in midweek. That for a younger player, that might play on his mind, but he's got that first goal, and that must do wonders for him and for the rest of the team, knowing what a great outlet he's going to be up there.
Not just his goal, the way he played today. I think people are seeing why we brought him here. Yeah, we love progressive play. We love getting that ball forward. And I said to the boys at half time, what we'd worked on against Cheltenham was trying to go a little bit more direct than we did against Accrington, because getting that ball up there was important. They had quite a strong midfield, which we didn't want to let them get the ball, get some momentum. But Foxy, I think, just led the line superbly well. Deserved his goal. Probably could have had another, you know, with the mistake early in the game. Just a whisker away from that. But no, I'm really pleased with Sam. You know, we're looking after him. He's a fantastic player to have in this squad and in this league. And he's in there, and he's all for the cause of Wycombe Wanderers, which is a fantastic sight to see. You know, somebody of that calibre. But also we got Bale, we got Stockdale, we got Jacobson. You know, the older crew there, all leading it and all pushing all these youngsters that were coming through. Gareth McClear as well. You know, fantastic older players that we've got here that mentor these young players, get the energy out of them, and then add their little bits of delivery. Gareth, you know, fantastic on the ball, and I say Bale came on, make a difference. JJ solid, and David Stockdale for me, I think he's playing some of the best football of his career, you know, and I include getting promoted to the Premier League because he's vital to what we're doing at the moment. That catch at the end there just took all the pressure off everything, and that's with a hand injury that, believe me, is quite a nasty one in there, so I'll have to check out that for the weekend. But no, really pleased, Matt, and I say young Ollie will get the plaudits.
Yeah, tell us about Ollie, because he arrived pretty much under the radar in the summer, much like Anis Mehmeti did at a similar time last year, but great strides already from him, and you must be so pleased to have him in the ranks. Yeah,
do you know, I've got to credit, first of all, Rob Courig, Missy and Pete and Andrew Howard, because they allowed us to start this development squad, we're calling it now. We don't want a B team. There is no B at this club. You're in a team, you know, and that's the development team, and this is the first team. And if you're in that development team, it's exactly what it says. You've got to develop. And I think Ollie was penciled in to come into that development team, just like Anis Mehmeti last year. And injuries, if I'm honest, you know, because and he knows this, you know, Dominic Gabe, Curtis Thompson, you know, seasoned pros, David Wheeler on the bench, you know, Ollie's took his chance, and I think he's got plenty to learn about the game still, without a doubt, off the ball, and the 23s is a world away from where he is now, and he's got to learn that quick. But technically, he's a fantastic player, and I have to give some credit to Sam Grace as well, our B team manager, our development squad manager, because he has come in and he's found some real diamonds for us and making this work. And we're not of the Brentford calibre yet. We're not of that. It's a real work in progress. And everyone will be saying, "Well, start an academy now." No chance. We can't do that. You've got to get this established now. And Sam's doing a fantastic job with some of the players we've signed: TJ DeBar, Max Ram, you know, Jack Wakely even, who's made some appearances. So really proud of what we've started. It's still tinkering with, but we've managed to get Ollie Pendlebury from Reading. They let him go. Sam worked at Reading. Sam knew about him. He told me he was technically very gifted, and obviously he's 2 strikes. I won't fancy anyone else hitting him as well as he did. No, pleased for him, and he'll learn plenty from that. He's done brilliant, you know, 2 goals in your second game. I don't expect too much from him, but I'm sure he'll enjoy tonight.
The fans have had a long time to save their voices for an away day like this, and they certainly came out in numbers and noise. Maybe won't be quite so many of them at Wigan on Tuesday, but next Saturday is gearing up to be an amazing day at Adams Park with hopefully a real bumper crowd behind the boys.
Yeah, all I can say is get down and get behind the boys, because with the championship season we had last year, I didn't want us to just to end up with a damp squib and think that's it now. We want to get back there. We need your help. At the start of the game, there was a section in the corner there that were just singing their hearts out, and everyone else started getting involved. We seem to have these younger group of fans now that are proud to be Wycombe fans. I know my kids will proudly wear their shirts, and I'm sure there are plenty who will around Wycombe as well. But so getting in the ground now, getting behind us, and going on this journey with us, you know. I'll give you Wigan. That's a long way on a Tuesday night, but no excuses for Lincoln next Saturday, and I'm sure there'll be a few familiar faces and hopefully some new ones getting right behind this team, which we're hoping can achieve this year.
Well, there are a few faces missing in the away end today. Andy Tillman and Rachel Gurney have picked a terrible day to get married, I think, but I'm sure they've been glued to the score, and I think your boys are giving them a good cause for celebration, an extra cause for celebration tonight.
Yeah, is it Mr. and Mrs. Tillman now? So congratulations on your big day. You did miss a 3-1 victory, but I'm sure you had just as good a day. Make sure you're down here for Lincoln next Saturday. So no honeymooning, not till next July when close season. Take care, good luck.
No honeymooning, says the manager.
Is that going to be in the newspapers the following day? We do things well, don't we, at Wycombe Wanderers?
No, definitely.
What a nice club we are. That was really lovely to actually spend a few moments actually talking about a fan who's going and getting married. Brilliant.
No, really nice.
Well done, Gareth. That was very good.
Yes, and then on to Wigan, of course.
Indeed, yes. So Wigan on Tuesday night. Well, goodness me, where to start, really?
Hard work, I think, would you describe?
Yes, I would say it wasn't a vintage Wycombe performance by any stretch of the imagination. Wigan really could have probably had 4 goals in the first half, and really should probably have at least scored a couple. And it was one of those things, I was sitting there watching, thinking, we really need to get to half-time, because there's no way in the world we're going to be this bad in the second half, and we really need, Gareth to have a stern word with the lads, which I'm sure he probably did at half-time. And then, of course, the really frustrating thing was Wigan scored straight away after half-time. So anything that sort of had then been said in the dressing room, you slightly felt, well, it's now kind of irrelevant because we're chasing the game. It's different from how it was at half-time. And really, it was one of those games where you were watching thinking, we could possibly sit here until tomorrow and we're not going to score a goal. However, Anthony Stewart did have a different idea and popped up right at the end to head home. And so actually we did come away with a point. But I think let's not be downhearted by the performance, because as we all know, actually the sign of a really good team and a sign of a promotion challenging team is to play badly and still come away with something. And really, it didn't look like we were going to come away from the DW Stadium with anything. So the fact that we were able to maintain our unbeaten start, admittedly dropping a couple of points, so we are now third behind Portsmouth and Burton, who still have 100% records in League One. But we're still doing all right in third.
I have a really strange mental image now of you just still sat there by Wednesday morning, just
yeah, still there at the DW,
waiting for that goal.
The drummer's still drumming away, trying to encourage all the fans to sing, and we're all just sitting there saying, well, no, we're a bit cold and wet in Wigan.
No, but you take, as you say, take a point on a Tuesday night away.
Yeah. And going to the game, I was thinking, well, take a point from that.
Gareth spoke to Phil afterwards.
Gareth, the 90th minute equaliser, that a point, but it must feel like a win.
Yeah, I mean, it's a point. It's a good club to come to and get a point. There's not many who'll come here and get a point. They were good. They were good in possession, which we thought they'd be. We tried to counter them. First half, we had some good chances. I think we could have hit the target more than we did. And really, they had a couple of chances early on first half, but second half, I thought we limited them to hardly any shots on goal. I think Scocco's made one save, but the set pieces are what's determined their goal. And our goal, of course. Sloppy free kicks given away, and we've got to win more headers in our own box and the knockdowns and get to that second one quicker. It's a great finish, but we had that in the first half. We just didn't hit the target. So yeah, away from home at Wigan, I think that's a great point for us, a really great point. This is a club who've recruited big names, and they're going to continue recruiting big names, I've heard. So it's nice to come away with a point. Battling performance. I think one or two of the boys probably learned tonight to stand up and how intense and how physical the football can be at this level, and that's great for me. It's great that they've learned that lesson in a game, and we've probably got away with it as well. Didn't work their keeper enough, but Anthony's come up with a great header at the end there, and like I say, take a last-minute equaliser away from home any day.
Switched the formation in the middle of the second half, and what was the thinking behind that?
Yeah, got to credit Richard Dobson. He mentioned it at half-time for me, and that's why he's there. And I think we went more with wingers, 4-1-4-1, which when you've got Sam Vokes and Akinfenwa works up. You want to get crosses in the box, but also their man Keane was causing us a lot of problems. So we went to man mark him with putting Curtis Thompson, and he's done that job a lot for me in the past. I remember him out doing Madison at Peterborough that time. And absolutely, I think he got subbed off. So Curtis is good at that man-to-man job, and I think he stopped the influence of Keane, which allowed Josh Scowen to go forward. And like I say, the wingers getting at people back forward did really well. Jordan slotting in at left back, his normal position, and Jack at right. Just JJ out of position at centre back, and that's where I think we want to be more dominant at times, but sometimes we're a smaller team because Tafa's always out injured, Jack Wakely's out injured, so David Wheeler, so some of the size is in the treatment room at the moment. But really pleased with the point, and looking forward to Saturday night. It's about getting home, getting the lads recovered, and see what we can do against Lincoln.
3 league games in, what's it like having this large squad? In terms of Wycombe large squad, this is the largest squad you've ever had. What's it like to have these players at your disposal?
Yeah, it's the largest squad we've had, but you are counting some of these under-20s that have come in. Anis is still under 20, Jack Wakely will be under 20, Ollie Pendlebury's under 20, and also them 3 really were earmarked for the development squad, and we all know the story of Anis, and Ollie now is coming through. So large, yeah, but I keep getting reminded by my staff that we're still a couple short of numbers when this Christmas period comes, especially, and the run-in for the season. So it's difficult. You've got to juggle it, and you've got to be very patient as a manager. You can't panic. I spoke to Rob yesterday and this morning, and obviously we're not going to panic. We're going to play it cool. We're not going to be sucked into playing ridiculous money for players who aren't worth that money just for a panic situation. We're going to do it right, and I always say some of my best deals have always been in the last week of that window, so looking forward to that last week. Be patient, don't worry, leave that to me, and we'll see what we can do.
And normally you could put what the pundits say about Wycombe Wanderers on the dressing room wall to motivate the team, but everyone's been very nice about Wycombe and expecting big things. How is that as a manager? Because that's a first for you as well.
Well, I seen on the TV show on Saturday night that I think the commentator said Cheltenham are going to face Ipswich Town on Tuesday, so that's the second big team in a week. So they've actually alluded to Wycombe Wanderers as being a big team. Rob will be very happy because he wants this team to be a big team. I'm still saying, yeah, we're making the transition from the underdog, but of course with Sam Vokes in the team, McCleary and Obita and these players who've played at the Premier League level, as well as our evergreen boys that have come with me all the way. Yeah, we are becoming this bigger force. I'm not going to admit we're a big team yet, but we certainly are feeling good about ourselves and want to be in and around the mix for as long as we can this season.
Really interesting to hear Gareth's thoughts, especially about dominating the possession and quite sort of lacking the size, if you like.
Yes, yeah, really, really interesting. Interesting as well about changing the formation, because yes, that did, that probably did result in us actually getting the point. Fantastic as well to hear Phil Catchpole back at the game as well. We wish Phil all the very best. He is a huge friend of Wycombe Sound, and great to hear him back behind the microphone on Tuesday night.
No, here, definitely, and really interesting. Just going back to the formation, that the players can adapt to that as well.
Yeah. I mean, that's a really good thing as well, isn't it? That actually, well, yes, Gareth can make the changes, and then actually it reaps results. Because I think so many times in football you do see, where the manager is trying to get, say, the team to change formation, and either it doesn't work or not everybody actually takes, what's been said quite to heart. But they're a very well drilled bunch, and I'm sure he's proud of the lads, as he would say.
Absolutely. Still to come on the Wycombe Wanderers show, we'll hear from Neil Peters from the club. Is there any mention of dog leads this week?
I could mention the dog leads to Neil and see if he's aware of the dog leads, and also say our thing about could we now have the dog leads in the goalkeeper colours as well, please. Mardi Gras dog leads is the way to go.
It may not catch on.
Online, on Radio Player, and on 106.6 FM. This is Wycombe Sound.
Still to come on episode 3, season 2 of the Wycombe Wanderers show. We'll be hearing from a former winger from the 60s who was known as the Stag.
Good name.
And
what
also,
would you be?
Gazelle.
Would you? You'd be the gazelle.
Maybe. It sounds quite.
I think I'll be the sloth.
Or giraffe. It's not very football-y, though.
No, it's not really, is it?
You can't imagine that being shouted from the terraces.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't sound very intimidating, is it? We've got the giraffe. I can't quite see that.
I think it would really highlight my role though, as being able to someone who puts off the opposition. That would be what I'm there for. But from someone who has a nickname to, we can ask our next guest if he has a nickname.
Yeah.
It might better not to.
Well, what we need to know from our next guest, first of all, is what his new job title is, because I believe that it's changed.
Neil Peters from Wycombe Wanderers. Please reveal your new job title.
Yeah, hello there, Neil Peters, as you say, from Wycombe Wanderers, head of stadium, really. So
we like that, head of stadium, but presumably that's all of the things that happen in the stadium, not just the exciting bits that happen on the pitch on a Saturday afternoon.
Bob, I'd love to say I had everything to do with the exciting stuff that happens on the pitch. I have little to do with that, but yeah, everything that's sort of in and around the stadium during the course of the week. But certainly on match day, indeed.
Now, this interview came about, actually. For a start, you are a friend of the station, because you have actually been into Wycombe Sound before, and your band, I think, has practised in our Blue Room. So thank you for your support. So I saw you in the club shop last Thursday, where I was going along, because I was very aware that Colin always has, like, the latest stuff that he wears, and I didn't want to be outdone this time, so I've now got the new training kit. And I bumped into you, and I happened to say to you, that I'd been to the Accrington game and thought that actually it was brilliant. Everything ran as, there were a few little teething problems, admittedly, but, considering how much change there had been, I was saying to you how well I thought everything had gone, and we started chatting, and you started then telling me about some of the things that are still actually to come, that fans can look forward to against Lincoln on Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. We can be honest, we've had quite a lot of time to prepare. But until you have that live game, and we had a practice run with Leicester, until you have that live game, you just don't quite know how well it's going to go. But we were delighted. We were really delighted with the comments. Leicester gave us maybe 3 issues that we knew we had to address. One of those being traffic. That it's a tall ask to address anything outside the stadium. But come the Accrington game, the traffic situation was well and truly sorted. I think at 5-3 there were 2 cars on Hillbottom Road, so we were pleased with that. We've added a whole load of things, as you know, you've seen Bob and Colin. We've added, giant screen which gives additional interaction. People can see it; they couldn't see the previous one. The Wi-Fi, which our owner Rob has talked about for many months, but has made an incredible difference, and it means people are able to sort of engage. And moving forward, they'll be able to engage with live activities on the screen and possibly man of the match awards. We've got screens across every single bar showing Chairboys TV, and as from Saturday, now the Premiership started, we'll be showing, I think it's Liverpool-Burnley. The beers have improved, the PA's improved, we've got 59 brand new CCTV cameras. So the whole stadium has gone through an overhaul, and I think we did a poll on Twitter, 86% of the fans put us in sort of the 7 to 10 category of improvement. So we're really pleased, but we've not stopped yet.
And I know one of the things that you're introducing this Saturday as well is the new bus service that was announced today.
Yes, indeed. So, as I said, the traffic's an issue, and it is because we're at the end of an industrial unit. There's one way in, one way out, and it's always been a problem. So we've really focused on it this year. We introduced a park and ride from just outside West Wycombe, which was successful for the last game. But we know that we've got to find other locations. So as from Saturday, we've got 3 buses leaving, I think 12:45, 1:30 and 2:15, leaving the train station. They're direct to Adams Park. The service is delivered by Riva. So it's not going round the houses. It's directly in, and obviously taking them back after the game. And we're hoping at some point to add one more, which will be the Handy Cross whereabouts. So there'll be additional services. It's not a money maker for Wycombe Wanderers. That's not the point of it whatsoever. So it's free on Saturday. It was free last week at West Wycombe. It's just a way of getting fans in safely, quickly, so they can enjoy the festivities before the game, and then getting them home without having to queue in, what has historically been queues of traffic.
One of the things that was very noticeable as well against Accrington was that so many fans also had taken up your invitation to arrive early. I got there, I think, just about 1:30, 1:45, and it was amazing how many fans were already there.
I had a good number of emails, actually, that said they hadn't seen, at 1:30, they'd not seen as many fans at Adams Park for at least 5 years. So I attribute some of that to potentially the fact that we've addressed the traffic and it's easier to get here. But also we've made considerable efforts in terms of entertainment. We have a sort of a live singer-songwriter in the Chairboys village. The village itself is brand new, huge marquee. We've improved the speed of the bar service. We still had some teething problems, so moving ahead for this week, we've added an extra pay station. So yeah, get down early and you'll actually start to sort of enjoy not just the match but the full event. For the Lincoln fans and fans of away teams moving forward, today we've had a giant village put up, a marquee put up for away fans, something that Wycombe are kind of famed for. Not every club offers that level of service to away fans, but we've had that put in today. So come down early, see what's going on. It's exciting. You see the players turning up, they park in the same car park. As I say, there's music, there's additional food vans this weekend, so we've increased the options and the choices. And I think the weather's going to be good, so what's not to like?
I think as well, with regards to what you said about the away fans, clearly in League One, you know, there are still some enormous teams actually in that division, and when we have the Sunderlands and the Portsmouth and the Ipswich fans coming down, without wishing to put our cynical hat on, presumably it's great because the club tries to make money out of them as well.
Well, I wouldn't strictly say that, but no, you're quite right. It's a funny statistic, I think, that away fans spend more per head than home fans, and they also arrive earlier. Because it's a day out for away fans, and our own fans that go away know that. I was speaking to fans at Wigan this week. I arrived with all the tickets that they needed to pick up, and I asked a few of the fans, what time did you get here? And they said, we've been here since 5. That's testament in itself that if you're travelling to a game, you tend to get there earlier. So, yeah, we do hope to make a bit of money. We've always been quite open, Rob and Pete, that it's about being sustainable. We believe if we offer a good level of service, therefore a decent marquee with a decent choice of beer and decent service, people are happy to come to us and spend their money rather than spend it sort of elsewhere on the journey. So we'll see. We think we've got between, 1,000 and 1,200 Lincoln fans coming on Saturday. So let's hope that they, arrive early and enjoy themselves as much as we will, and obviously we hope with 3 points.
One of the things that slightly confused me at the Accrington game, first of all, was the fact that the programme huts had all disappeared. I understand that actually at the Lincoln game again on Saturday, that is now going to be rectified, and even better than that as well, because one of the people that you really associate with those programme huts, and I can picture myself now walking up the road, going through the gates, and there Sandy Durban will be with that big smile of hers in the programme hut, selling me the programme. You're, obviously Sandy Durban, much missed member of the Wycombe Wanderers family. You're going to name a programme hut after her. Yeah, absolutely. So there's a lot of talk. There was pre-season a lot of talk whether we would or we would not do programmes. A lot of clubs have dropped them. It's a difficult one to manage. You never know how many you're going to sell. You can end up with a lot of waste. They take a fair bit of time to put together. And you always want to put content in them that hasn't just strictly been on, social media or on the website during the course of the week. So you wanted to make them value. But we decided to carry on. I think we've reduced the price of them. We've certainly not increased the price. And we decided, because we have gone cashless, and something that we're quite adamant about, that we weren't going to do sort of a cash payment stall in the car park. So we put them in the kiosks, we put them in the bars, we put them in the shop. But we listened to the comments of our fans afterwards, and I think we recognise that the majority of people like to arrive, as you just mentioned, walk up to a programme hut and purchase a programme. So that's from Saturday. We've reintroduced a hut. It's not cash, so it's digital payment only, but it's called Sandy's. The hut's called Sandy's, and we will now be selling programmes bang in the car park once again. And it's just nice that we've been able to put her name to it. She is well missed. I was with her husband during the week. He went away to Wigan. I was chatting to him, and I think he's quite amazed and proud, actually, of the legacy that she's left and the memories she's left the fans. So it's nice that we can do that. Yeah, no, that's a really, really nice thing that you're doing. One question that we've had coming in is how early can actually the fans get down? What time does the stadium open up?
Largely, really, it's open from 12, really. So villages, the village, the bars, geared up to be open from 12. We've got Premiership football on. I think it's Liverpool-Burnley. I've said that already. I think it's a 12:30 kick-off. So that will be on. I think that's on BT Sport, which we've got. So come down and watch that. You can enjoy a full 2.5, 3 hours with us. Eating, drinking, listening to music, watching football, talking to your friends, meeting new friends, and soaking in the atmosphere. But 12 o'clock is a good start point for us. We'll be wide open and ready.
Yep, I can confirm that it is Liverpool against Burnley on Saturday at 12:30. Another thing that I wanted to mention as well, because you hear a lot about Wi-Fi at football stadiums, and lots of stadiums say, "Oh, we've got really great Wi-Fi," and you go along, and and traditionally the Wi-Fi never works at a football stadium. It was remarkable in the game against Accrington that I was able to check the half-time scores. I was able to do so much on my phone, which normally everybody tries to do on their phones. Any football stadium, doesn't matter whether you're talking the Premier League or whether you're talking League Two. Your phones never work, but at Wycombe Wanderers now, the brilliant thing is actually they do. Doesn't seem to matter how many people you've got there.
Yeah, it's good. It was talked up for a long time. It's been an awful lot of sort of construction and work going on in the stadium to get to this point. And Rob has gone on record many times saying we'll be the most connected stadium in the country when we go live, and the fastest. And that's what we were promised by the company Landways that we work with, and there's no question that's the case. So I think when I first joined, I was told 10,000 people should be able to stream 10,000 things on 10,000 devices faultlessly. And as yet, we've had no negativity. I think there are a couple of teething problems with just a couple of areas. And I think one of the kiosks, there was so much stainless steel within the kiosk with sort of air conditioning units and metal walls, wipe clean walls. I think that played a little bit of a havoc game one, Leicester game with the Wi-Fi, but that was rectified. You're right, it's fast. You can check the scores. You can all check whatever you want to check, and we've had no complaints. So I think we've hit the money on the head with that one. It's worked, and it's worked very, very well.
Yeah, no, it is very, very impressive. And anything else that we haven't mentioned? Any other plans that are currently in the pipeline?
Well, I would say stuff that's not mentioned. I guess expectations are you would arrive to a stadium and it will be clean and tidy. But I work with the Wycombe Wanderers volunteers who have painted just about every step, have swept, have cleaned, have decorated all the boxes, the bars. We had a whole host of volunteers come in and clean every single seat. So that's part of the family, isn't it? That's when you really know that you are a community club. We've got huge ambition and we've had huge growth, but you can still look at 150 local residents in your stadium cleaning seats for 5 hours and think, you know what, I wonder how many giant clubs have this. So it's great. We're sort of in between that. We've got that growth spurt. Our business is growing. Our fan base is growing. The quality of the team is growing. But we still know that we have real roots in our community, which is lovely. Of course, we've got the perimeter board advertising, which, okay, it's a commercial thing, but how many League One clubs have those LED screens going around the pitch? How many, even Championship clubs I went to last year don't have the 42-metre square giant screen that we've had put up in the last 3 weeks. So they're perhaps things that I've not mentioned. Things moving forward, we've got more choice, more quality in terms of food this week. Somebody did complain that there wasn't enough food vans in the car park compared to previous year, but you know what? Those food vans are really busy. There are festivals going on that have been cancelled for ages, and a lot of the food trucks were booked up. They're booked up from maybe midday to midnight at some of these festivals, so coming down to a football pitch for 3-4 hours is less appealing. But we've got, I think, 4 this weekend, and moving through the season we'll have a rotation of different different foods. So everything is going in the right direction. We continue to listen to our fans. We continue, we think, to improve. And I'm just excited because I've got a sneaky feeling the team's going to do brilliantly this year. And I know off the pitch we are raising our level, and off the pitch we're a championship organisation, begging to get back into the championship.
And that's what is really impressive, just hearing you speak, is that, not only actually up at the training ground and on the pitch are we looking to be a championship club, but actually the infrastructure at Adams Park, it has been improved to the point that actually, now it is of championship standard, if not better. You mentioned about the boards around the pitch, and I understand that, there's, I think, only one other Premier League club that's got those in the same way.
In League, there's certainly Wigan did. We were there this week. There might be a couple, but there's very few. And Rob and Pete and I had spoken 18 months ago, and I think there was a belief when the team got promoted from League 2 to League 1, which was fantastic, that the team became a League 1 team. But the club, in the state it was in at that time, and it was brilliant, the trust had kept it going. Absolutely amazing in itself. But the club wasn't in a position financially to sort of raise its game to be a League 1 team. Last year, obviously, we got to the Championship, and it was the club's absolute intention that we needed to be a Championship-level club inside and out. That's from how we look, how we act, what we deliver back to our fans, the value, the quality, and the sort of the growth that we've got ahead of us. So we changed the model significantly. We're now in a position where we still feel a championship club. Obviously, we're not. So there's only one thing for Gaz and the boys to do, and for us behind the scenes, is to make sure when we talk this time next year, we're talking about the championship team that we'll be hosting, this coming weekend. No question, that's the vision of the club now. We're absolutely not minnows. We're not Little Wycombe. We flexed our muscles last year, and they remain flexed, and we've got a big season ahead of us to show everybody what we're about these days.
Fantastic. Well, Neil, thank you so much for your time this evening. Thank you as well for your ongoing support of Wycombe Sound. And as you say, possibly we'll speak to you sooner, but if not, it will be great to speak to you at the beginning of next season, when hopefully, yes, we will be a championship club, not only in name, but also in status as well.
Absolutely. I look forward to it. And as I say, I promise you that's the view of the team, the management and the club. So, I'm pretty sure the fans have that opinion as well. We started well. We just need to be loud. We need to attend. We need to shout. And we need to back the team.
Fantastic. That is the head of stadium, Neil Peters, from Wycombe Wanderers.
Online, on Radio Player, and on 106.6 FM. This is Wycombe Sound.
Final part of the Wycombe Wanderers show, Season 2, Episode 3. Fantastic to hear from Neil. And as you say, he really sounded like, they've got something to really show off at Adams Park.
Oh, completely. Yeah, it was very, very impressive. If you haven't got down, then do try and get along on Saturday, because it is worth going. I think you will be impressed. Really interesting. So you can get there from 12 o'clock, and it's worth it. There's enough going on. When I sort of first of all heard about, they want to almost go for the American model of tailgate parties and actually fans arriving quite early before the game. Well, I was slightly sceptical, thinking, well, hang on, Adams Park, it's a nice stadium, but outside of the stadium, it's just a car park. But actually, so much thought has gone into putting stuff in. Really interesting to hear Neil talking about all of the different food vans and whatever, and clearly those are going to change over time. So go along, see what's happening. There'll be entertainment there, and also as well, and I don't think that we're breaking any trade secrets here. There might also be a certain local radio station there as well soon, broadcasting on a Saturday.
Another one?
Yes. No, not another one. The only one. We are the only local one now, aren't we?
Yes, exactly. And also, recently saw Neil featuring on a TV feature that Henning Vane did.
Yes, I still have it. Lots of people have talked to me about that. I must see that.
I'd recommend it.
Yes, my homework tonight is to go home and watch that.
Talking of my homework was to chat to another ex-player this week, and I've been catching up with Les Merrick, who lives in Bledlow Ridge now, still very much local, and we're chatting to him about how he basically became a Wycombe Wanderers player. 61 he started, that was the year. Not how old he was when he started.
That would be quite impressive.
Right the way through to 1969, quite a period at Lokes Park.
I went to Mill End School in High Wycombe, and then from there, once I left school, I played for Hotspur up at Top Lane, up at near Beaconsfield there. And I played there for 2 or 3 seasons, and I was playing tennis actually one day down at Bassetsbury Lane, and somebody came over to me, and I didn't know who it was, and he talked to my colleague and said, "Are you Les Merrick?" He said, "No." He said, "That's him over there." So he came over and he said, do you play football? I said, well, yeah, I do, locally. He said, well, somebody's asked me, Sid Canner's asked me if you'd like to come and train with Wycombe for a few weeks. So I said, well, that sounds a good idea. So basically that's where my introduction to Wycombe Wanderers was. And after that, we played for the Wycombe youth team for a couple of times, and then obviously got promoted into the reserves and played there for quite a few couple of seasons. And then I think they must have got hard up one day, and they asked me if to play in the first team, and we were supposed to play, I believe it was Corinthian Casuals, and it was during a winter when we had a very, very lot of snow, and I think it was about 5 weeks before we could play. I know we were up at Lokes Park occasionally training and clearing snow away before we could go anywhere. And after that time, playing there in the snow we played Corinthian Casuals and we played at the Oval. I always remember that. And from there on, it just transgressed and got into gradually into the A team. Sorry, not into the A team, into the first team, and met some actually wonderful players. Players who only a few years previously, I'd watched play Cliff Trott, Paul Bates, Len Worley, Dennis Sirrett, all these names of the past that were Wycombe Bishop Auckland Cup final at Wembley, where I was standing, and it was incredible for a few years later to be to playing with them at Lokes Park and all over, and of course. Some of the guys there at the time, like Len Worley, he was England player, and John Fisher played for Wales as well. So it was a time when the club was really good, very well supported, and it's somewhere where I'd been after playing in the local youth leagues on Saturday mornings. I always used to go up through the turnstiles with my sixpence, down the bottom hospital end, where there was a big sheet of steel behind the goal, acted as a really good drum, which we all the lads used to bang on that for all the players when they came around. So it was a really good time and thoroughly enjoyable. I can remember going to Ilford, I think it was, where Wycombe played one of their rounds, and one of my friends said, you've got to come over with me. And it was pouring with rain. I remember Barry Darwell going on the pitch with a fork, trying out to see how wet it was on there. And I went with a friend who said, look, you can't go in there without some sort of hat. So he went into a telephone booth and pinched a telephone directory and put it on my head as a cover. So that's how I watched the Ilford match there. And then, obviously, from there we went to Wembley and had a great time there. But then going back to the days afterwards when I played there, we played Bedford in the, I think it was the FA Cup, actually, and we had about 3 or 4 replays in that match, which were absolutely wonderful. And after that, I've still got a letter that I was sent by the Bedford team to ask if I would like to go and train with them, to join them. I never did because, as far as I was concerned, I was a Wycombe player and that's where I wanted to stay. And so it happened all the time until the very end of my days. I did play at Chesham for a couple of seasons and got a knee injury and started a business on my own, and that basically was the end of my football career, apart from watching then.
I was going to ask about that FA Cup tie, because you don't get many, you certainly don't get much more than 1 replay, let alone 3. It must have been fantastic to have been involved in those matches.
Oh, it was absolutely brilliant. Yeah, the atmosphere was wonderful. I mean, every match was, even the matches we played over at Bedford, we had really good crowds there. And of course, when it came back to Wycombe, and not saying it was capacity, but it was certainly pretty crowded. Yeah, great fun.
And also, obviously, cup runs are fantastic to be involved in anyway. I know that the FA Amateur Cup was something you did particularly well in during your time getting to the quarterfinals.
That's right, yes. Yeah, I remember playing, I think we got through to Hendon, where we were eventually beaten. But the match that should never have been played, because it was absolutely muddy, and I know Ian Rundle actually was really he was very saddened by the fact that he actually broke somebody's leg because it got stuck in the mud there. So that should never have been played that day. But it was a great cup run, and obviously, good for the town as well, I think.
And you mentioned Sid Can, who was the manager that brought you to the club, but there were quite a few managerial changes in your time.
Yeah, quite a few. The one that was there most of the time when I was there was Barry Darville, of course. But Graham obviously was there for some time. Don Welsh, that's the guy. Yes, I remember Don Welsh. He was there for, not a long time, but a couple of years there. And I always remember I wasn't picked for the team one day, and I lived in Desborough Avenue, which was not far away from Lokes Park. And one Saturday morning, I remember him coming up there, knocking on the door and saying, we'd like you to play today if you're available, sort of thing. So I said, well, yeah, wonderful. And he backed out of the driveway there, and there was a little lip on the concrete driveway, and he tripped over that, and his hat rolled down Desborough Avenue, and that's a memory that I'll always remember.
That's a fantastic story. You can't imagine Gareth Ainsworth having the same sort of circumstance today.
No, not at all. It was a really good time, and everybody in the town, sort of obviously local players, everybody knew them as well, so it was good times.
So you must talk a bit about your nickname. I understand the fans called you the Stag.
I was the Stag, yes. That was basically apparently I did run in a quite a peculiar fashion, which I don't obviously know about, but. When I ran, apparently I looked a bit like a stag, so that's the nickname that stuck for many years. Yes, but great times, and we had some wonderful times. Going abroad as well to various places. I know we even visited the Barcelona Stadium once, but we didn't actually get to play there. But on tour, we went there and have a good look around.
Wow, that's fantastic. And there must be so many sort of changes, obviously, that happened during your time. I know, for example, that Wycombe's first substitution happened whilst you were there with Martin Priestley.
Yes, that's very true, yeah. Martin, I think, as you say, was the first substitute. And, of course, he, obviously a local guy, and funnily enough, I still play golf with him, Keith Samuels, and a couple of other guys. We play once or twice a week now.
That's fantastic. So, you're still in touch with those same teammates all these years later.
They're still, Vince Faulkner, Keith Samuels. We all play golf together still, so it's really good.
And are there any other sort of special memories that really stand out from your time? Because obviously you were there for a number of years. Yes,
once on tour. On one thing I will always remember, George Thompson, who was on the committee there. George was at Arnhem. He was a paratrooper, and he jumped out of the plane over Arnhem during the Second World War, and with a mate of his, jumped out the aircraft, and when they landed, obviously a lot of fighting. He unfortunately lost contact with his colleague, and years later, we went on tour there, and we went into one of the graveyards there and found his cross, which was, after a long, long time, George was really pleased about that, and it was something, a memory for me that I'll never forget.
No, definitely. And it must be so pleasing for you to have seen how the club has grown and developed over the years.
Oh, incredibly. I mean, from the slope of Lokes Park to possibly one of the best playing surfaces in the country at the moment. Absolutely wonderful. I mean, it's a great stadium. It's a pity it's a little bit restricted at the end of a single-track lane, basically, or road. But other than that, the facilities and everything, of course, and what they've got up at Booker as well, are, well, as good as anybody's in that standard of football, I'm sure.
As a winger, how did you find that the slope? Was that something you easily adapted to?
To be honest with you, you didn't really notice it. The biggest problem was if somebody was crossing the ball from the top, by the time it reached the bottom goalpost, it had actually raised in the air probably another 3 feet. So it was a bit difficult to jump that high sometimes.
And it must be fantastic, obviously, for yourself and the other members of the Ex-Players Association to still have that bond and those things that you've been through together.
It's wonderful. I mean, a couple of weeks ago we were all over at Marlowe playing golf, and just to be able to go together with the same guys that you played with so many years ago, and still have that bond is really, really good. Excellent it is.
Oh, it's been a real pleasure to speak to you. Thank you so much for your time.
It's my pleasure. Thank you very much for calling.
Brilliant to speak to you, Les. It's fantastic, isn't it, to kind of get these stories and to hear about the former manager walking up Desborough Avenue and saying, you're playing this afternoon.
It's just brilliant, and always interesting as well to hear about Lokes Park as someone who was sadly never able to visit Lokes Park. I can only sort of imagine. I've only seen pictures, but actually when you hear the players talking about it who played there, it really does bring it to life, and particularly with regards to things like the slope. You do get the sense of what it must have been like.
And a bit strange to quote myself, but it's strange how the game has changed in that, you always assume, don't you, watching a game now, that there's always been substitutions.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, isn't it? It depends when you started watching football as to what you think is normal, and to me, having one substitute is always normal, and, and the fact, particularly say like last season, it was like, oh, goodness me, you could have 5, that's a lot. And so, yes, and presumably, yeah, if you were a football follower before the substitutes rule was introduced, you possibly still think it's a bit strange. And similarly as well, interesting about all the cup replays, and again, I used to love the fact that if you had a drawn game in a cup tie, it would go to a replay and then possibly a second, third replay. But, that was always so exciting. And yes, penalty shootouts are exciting as well, but there was nothing quite like, FA Cup ties that went on and on and on.
And they pretty much played whatever the weather, apart from between December and February. When there was lots of snow.
But there had to be lots of snow, real proper snow, not some of the reasons that games get called off these days. It very much, yes, it's sort of like, the pitch is too hard or whatever. It is an excuse that's given these days. And, back then there wouldn't have been any of that. As long as you could clear the snow off it, it didn't matter that it was a frozen pitch. You'd still
get the orange ball out. You don't really see the orange ball.
Yeah, no, you don't
days,
either, do you? No, you lots of strange, different coloured ones, but not the orange ball.
So we're gearing up for only the 4th League One game this weekend, and only the 2nd at Adams Park this season. So
we will be playing Lincoln City, who currently have won one, drawn one and lost one. So they drew with Gillingham on the opening day of the season. They beat Fleetwood Town 2-1 at home and then lost to Bolton on Tuesday night. They also lost to Shrewsbury Town at the bottom of League One currently in the EFL Cup on penalties. And so very much in the middle of the table currently. Their manager is Michael Appleton, although he is currently recovering from testicular cancer, so we wish him all the very best. It was reported he's taken a short break. Looking at the Lincoln website, I do believe that I think he must be back now looking after the team, because there are various quotes from him and whatever, but not sure that he will be in the dugout on Saturday, but we wish him well.
Should see goals as well. You mentioned Bolton there. I noticed that they're the only team in the division so far who've scored more than Wycombe.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, and we do seem to be quite good now at scoring, and particularly now Sam Vokes has opened his account, and Ollie Pendlebury's on fire, and even Anthony Stewart now is providing the goals from the back. Yes, it'd be interesting to see, and let's not put the mockers on it and say it's unlikely to be 0-0.
Well, with the transfer window not too long left, it'll be interesting to see whether any more attacking or forward players are brought in.
Yeah, I mean there keeps being little rumours, and I keep seeing things on social media which you can never particularly take as definite, but yeah, we still seem to be interested in a couple of players. And then of course we've got the loan market as well, which will then kick in after the transfer window has closed, and I would imagine that Wycombe Wanderers are probably a very attractive club, actually, if you have players who are not quite ready, maybe for Championship or for Premier League football. You'd know that actually if you allowed Gareth Ainsworth to look after them, that they would be very well looked after.
No, definitely, and I guess attacking is an area which we could do with some strength filling in, with Scott Cashgate out injured at the moment. Obviously Sam Vokes has been brought in, and Mr. Akinfenwa as well starting to make his comeback.
Yes, yeah, it was good to see Bayo on the pitch on Tuesday night. One of those frustrating things, though, as soon as he came on, almost the very first thing he did, where he possibly put his arm out, the referee blew for a free kick, and you just thought, oh goodness me, I would be so frustrated if I was Bayo, because he always gets penalised for doing things that other players, we saw it last year with Uchi, where, Uchi would come on, and almost do exactly the same things that Bayo did, and the referee would just let it go, and Bayo always gets penalised, and it's not fair, and it does wind me up.
Very frustrating. If you've not yet been to Adams Park, perhaps this season, or perhaps for at least more than a season, if you missed out on the Championship, obviously, and you've not been for a while, and you want to check out the new innovations and see what it's all about, and you've been listening to it, I think Saturday, an ideal opportunity.
Definitely get along. A few things to remember: it is cashless. Okay, so do take your credit card or your debit card with you. You can't spend any cash, but if you are looking to park in one of the car parks that isn't in the stadium, pretty much they are all still cash places, so you might need a few coins. You will be able to get a programme as well from Sandy's Programme Hut on Saturday, and download the Fetch app as well, because that is the way to get round the cashless problem and to be ordering food as well. We'll speak to you next week.